Storytelling to me, I would say it's something that started when I was a very young boy, roughly around the age of 4 or so. You see, I was born in Harare, the capital city of Zimbabwe. That's where my parents lived and had a house there. So they decided, well, at the age of 4, to go and leave me in a remote village, about 300 kilometers away, in the middle of nowhere. That's where my grandparents used to stay. There was no electricity there. There was no running water. So, in there with my grandparents, the only form of entertainment was storytelling. At night, my grandmother would just gather me and my 2 siblings, would sit around a fire, and they would tell stories. Mostly it was my grandmother. My grandfather, here and there, he would chip in. But yeah, that's where storytelling originated for me. You know, and when my grandparents or my grandmother told a story, she would tell a story, and then the following day, before she tells another story, she would say, "Hey, can you tell me that story that I told you yesterday? You tell me, I'll give you a mango." I was a sucker for mangoes. I loved mangoes. And so it became a habit that I really had to listen properly so that I could get a mango the following day. So that's how storytelling, that's how it got ingrained into my system. But then, at the same time, I did not see it as anything. It was just a way of life. I did not think of it as a future profession or anything. It was just a way of life. Yes, that's how storytelling took its roots for me. And mostly, my grandparents, excited us, the children, with trickster tales. There was Tsuro Nagudo, the hare and the baboon. Hare was the trickster and baboon was always the villain in the stories. So we got into those kind of stories. Most of the time we anticipated and waited to hear those stories every time, So there was, to go along with those stories, they would play some musical instruments. We had the djembes, we call them ngoma in Zimbabwe, and we had the mbiras, that's the thumb piano. So they would bring in those instruments, they would play them, they would bring the shakers. So as the story goes on, we really just got entranced into the whole thing, really. So that is how it became ingrained into my system, the art of storytelling. Africanus.